So we at Accenture, we do a lot of research and studies on the topic of workforce of the future. So you find some keywords that we are using all over the afternoon. And when we are doing this kind of research, we love finding patterns between the different research. So for instance, we went to interview the executives of companies, and we asked them, what do you think is the biggest challenge for your, the future of your business? And 41% of them think that it will be about attracting and retaining the best talents. So we went and asked questions to the young graduates. Every year we do studies on the new graduates, and we ask them what they want, what they need. And 86% of them, we asked them, would you consider working for a traditional company or a large company? And 86% of them say, thanks, but no thanks. And so that's interesting. We found a pattern here. Big companies, traditional companies, they say, we need young people, we need young graduates that can come with a digital mindset, that can take risks, that can be agile. But when we go and ask the same young people, they say, I'm going to try something else. And we believe there is a key question here for traditional companies, which is how do you make sure you're going to attract and retain the talents of tomorrow? Key question. What do we mean by talents of tomorrow, or employees of tomorrow? Of course, we're all very comfortable with the concept of Gen Y or millennials. There's abundant literature on them. We know that it's going to be 75% of the workforce by 2025. By the way, 15% of the managers are already Gen Y as of today. We know they want agility at work. They don't want to stay too long for the same company. So generality on Gen Y. What's really interesting though is to zoom in on that Gen Y and look at the most recent representatives of this Gen Y. And we see very interesting things. For instance, in 2013, we went to ask the young graduates, are you happy with your work? And 41% of them said, not really. I mean, I feel bored, and it's not really for me. 41%. 3 years later, same question to the young graduates. 51% of them say, oh, I feel bored. Plus 10% in 3 years. Plus 10% in 3 years. In 2013, we went to ask the young graduates, would you consider working for a big company? 20% of them said, yes, why not? 2016, 3 years later, only 14%. Minus 6% in 3 years. So where do you think we're going to be in 10 years from now? And so really when you zoom in and you look at the young graduates, the youngest of them, you see that there are very interesting patterns coming in. So we went to ask those young graduates, what do you need? What do you want? What would keep you in a company? And then also we went to ask the companies that make it happen, the startups, the very agile structure, some big companies also who can make it. And basically those big companies are able to provide what young graduates and what young generation are expecting. We found 4 things, 4 key points. The first one is young graduates, they want to feel part of a team. And that word team, actually, I should have put it in a big character, big letters, because we think it's key, and we believe traditional organization and large companies sort of lost sight of what exactly is a team. Jeff Bezos from Amazon gives a good rule of thumb. He said, if a team is too large to be fed by 2 pizzas, it may be too big. So that's a good rule. But when we went in the startup and we asked the employees, the young employees, why are you in a startup? They said, look, I'm on the same bench than the CEO and the COO. I know the strategy, they share the vision. Every time we have to pivot, I'm aware of that, I know why. This is why I'm in a startup. I'm part of a team and I'm connected to the vision, the original vision. We actually found out that 85% of interns in startups have had the chance to take a beer with the CEO in the last month, which is interesting. I would not ask the same question here. The same thing with the home working. Actually, we went to interview them, and we thought that home working was, the default mode in startup. So they all would be working from home or from the beach. And basically, it's no, we're all in the office. Home working is not the default mode in startup because we want to be together. We perform as a team. So, 1, feel like they're part of a team. Super critical for them. The second one is they want to feel that they are given a unique employee experience, a unique employee value proposition. And I won't spend spend too much time on that because it has been mentioned over and over. But gradually, we're moving from a world of customer experience to the world of employee experience. We mentioned that already. At Accenture, we coined 15 years ago the term of customer of one, and more we're talking about employee of one. So everyone deserves to have his own or her own value proposition. And what's troubling is when you ask the business leaders, only 36% of them think they are ready to offer this unique employee experience. So very interesting thinking for those organizations. Third point, they want to feel like their skills are growing every day. We saw earlier that they don't want to spend more than 4 or 5 years in the same company. But more than that, they know that their skills will need to be updated every 3, 4, 5 years. You're all aware of the study of Oxford, which was released 2 years ago, which predict that 47% of the jobs as we know it today will disappear in the next 2 decades. It's a huge shift, and most of those young graduates, they know about it. They're aware about it, and they know they will have to update their skills all the time. So that means the position they are in now has to prepare them for the next position, has to entertain a renewal of skills. So we're talking about maintaining the employability of the graduates. And last but not least, the last point is those young people, they want to be part of something bigger. 60% of those millennials want a job with a social impact. And that might be hard for some companies to offer. This might be part of your core business. And I like the example of the Patagonia example. Don't buy this jacket. If you don't know this case study, Google it up. It's a very inspiring case study. The financial performance of Patagonia after they run this ad tripled. And they have really good ranking on Glassdoor. But that's an interesting example. But maybe it's going to be hard to make it part of your core business, this social impact. So there are other interesting ways that some companies are starting to explore to make sure that they can offer this social impact to their employees. One example, for instance, is to keep involving or start involving social entrepreneurs in their business model. If you start working closely with social entrepreneurs, your employees might feel that they have a social impact. But it seems to be key in the coming generation. So I want to leave you only with this question. If we know that 47% of the job might disappear in the next 2 decades or might be disrupted, what will be the key jobs in your industry 3 years from now? What will be the key skills in your industry 3 years from now? And how do you make sure that you will attract those skills? And how do you make sure that you will retain them? To me, that's the critical question to be asked right now. Thank you.